Hi, and welcome back. I was once talking to a European client about moderation in Islam, and he assured me that yes, he believes that there are a lot of moderate Muslims, and himself, he has a friend that he considers as a moderate Muslim. And he told me that even sometimes he goes with his friend to have a drink in a bar or even to check on girls. Well, of course, that was a bit confusing to me because I didn't know how to respond to what he was saying. I didn't want to ruin the image of his moderate friend, but on the other hand, I felt like it's a responsibility to clear that we would not, as Muslims, consider this as the moderate Muslim. And in fact, this would be more like a sinner one. Now, even though sin is something personal, we're not judging people, but I would like to clarify what's expected from a moderate Muslim. First of all, of course, he should embrace what we call the 5 pillars of Islam, which start with the declaration of faith, where here he believes in the oneness of God, and then that there is of course no other God but one God, and that the Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam, is his prophet. Now, of course, again, when we say that Prophet Muhammad is his prophet, it means that it's not the exclusive prophet, it's not the only prophet sent to earth. Muslims should believe also on the whole line of prophecy, which started with Adam in our belief, the first man on earth, and then of course goes to Noah, Abraham, Ismail, Isaac, Jacob, and of course all the other prophets in between, all the way to Moses, Jesus, and then the final prophet, the last of the prophets, which is Prophet Muhammad. After this, he should perform, or she should perform, the 5 daily prayers. After the 5 daily prayers, we have the zakat, what we call zakat. And zakat, it's a kind of Islamic religious tax. Of course, no one is coming to you to collect this tax. It's something that you should calculate upon your savings. If one complete year goes around, and then of course after 1 year you have to pay a certain amount, which is something like 2.5, and you should pay this to poor and needy people. The 4th pillar would be the fasting during the holy month of Ramadan, which is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, which is, by the way, also of 12 months, but because it's a lunar calendar, all of its months would be either 29 or 30 days. There is no 31 nor 28 days in this calendar. The last of the pillars would be Hajj, or the pilgrimage to Mecca, which is, or more specifically, to the city of Mecca, where we have the biggest, the largest mosque in the Islamic world, where in the middle of this mosque we have Al-Kaaba. Kaaba is actually a construction. It's an empty room, empty chamber, covered with velvet textile, and it represents the unity of the prayers of believers. Now, of course, Kaaba is the first house of God built by Abraham and his son Ismail. So regardless of what's the practice today, Hajj or pilgrimage was something that was in fact established much earlier than all the 3 monotheist religions that we know today, which are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Of course, as we said, and these 5 basic pillars are the minimum to be considered as a moderate Muslim. But on top of this, a moderate Muslim should share with, I hope, many people on the planet the idea that all people are created by God, and of course they are equal in front of God. The question of faith is something personal, and it's only God that would judge it. So he, based on this, he would treat other people with the ideas that of this equality. So whenever there is a suffering, for example, he would not check behind to see what's the religion of this person that's suffering. He would feel compassionate with everyone, and of course when it comes to daily social life or business in general, then again he would treat all people equally based on justice and good intent. Other thing is that, of course, also what's expected from a moderate Muslim is to get out from the narrowness of belief to the wider world of trying to understand what the other has, and of course, as any other believer, he would feel that it's a bliss for him to be believing in what he's convinced with, and try to share it with others, but not impose it on them, because at the end of the day, this is a personal choice, and if he believes in this personal choice, then he wouldn't feel like imposing it on others, because he knows that it's irrelevant. It should become from within. Something else that I would add, which would make the moderate Muslim, is that in his in treating the others, even whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims, he would try always to show the good side of the Islam, not by arguing, but by using a persuasive mode to explain what the religion is about, if someone is interested, of course. So again, as I said, he should respect the willingness of accepting the knowledge or requesting the knowledge from the others, but not try to preach Islam in a way that's violent, or that would be opposed. If someone doesn't want to hear about your message, of course, then that's it. It's up to him or her. So these are some of the things that comes to my mind when I think of a moderate Muslim. But of course, there is so many issues. On the other hand, it doesn't mean that he should be completely weak. I wouldn't say peaceful, because yes, he should be peaceful, or she should be peaceful, but not to the point where he would accept injustice. No. In fact, a moderate Muslim is expected to oppose injustice, to stand to it. But when standing to injustice, he would try not to do greater harm than what the injustice is already doing. So he should try to convince the unjust person, whether it's just a small matter or it's even going to a political situation, etc., etc., to do whatever is correct in what is beneficial to people, because at the end, this is the fundamental thing of the message of Islam, as well as all of the religions in general. It's something that helps people to live in harmony and use the resources that they have on this planet in a good way, in a good and sustainable way, because we should always think of people that will come after us. And because of this, we need to synergize with all human beings that comes from different faiths, or even that are faithless, because at the end of the day, if the religion is meant to make a harmony, by applying it, we will reach to this harmony, and this is what a moderate Muslim is expected to do. Another thing is that comes sometimes to mind, or I get this question, is that well, moderate Muslims would be of this school or that school, and here I'm more like talking about Sunnis, Shias. Well, in fact, a moderate Muslim would be bigger than the schools that he's following, because at the end of the day, when following a certain Islamic school, this would apply to certain specific issues, but the biggest picture, the belief itself, is in fact shared by all Muslims. And in each and every school there might be some extremist branches, but this is the exception. It's not the in fact the majority, and that's why amongst 1 billion Muslim we kind of notice when we talk about extremism just few minorities here and there. So in general, and just to resume, what I wanted to mention is that if what we expect from a modern Muslim is that he should, of course, accept his religion the way it is. He would accept also diversity. He will try to blend within the milieu he is and respect the culture of the others. That's something very important, because it's mentioned in the Quran that God created people from different clans and tribes to meet each other, to know each other. So of course this wouldn't happen unless if there is a mutual respect and to the other in general. But on the other hand, while he's trying to blend, or while he's trying to embrace the culture of the other, he would not touch what's considered as important issues in own religion, in Islam. So as we mentioned, the 5 pillars not to be touched, the way also of the lifestyle, and this comes also to the way we dress. Of course, there is limitless options, and the best way for a Muslim is to dress on the way that's more convenient to the milieu he's living in, but keeping in mind that there is a dress code that should be respected for men and also for women in the community while we are in public. All these small issues are the issues that really makes the difference today, because in fact we have a lot of issues, I know, and we have a lot of stereotyping about Muslims today, but the last thing that we want is that we want or we were imagining that a modern Muslim should be someone who would adopt completely new lifestyles that are out of his or her religion, because in this way maybe we're going so far, and maybe this is not helping anyone. So that's why knowledge is very important. We should understand what's compulsory by Islam and what's optional. But then on the other hand, of course, we should also understand that most of what's being considered as Islam stereotyping is in fact created by just a small minority of Muslims. Of course, they are still Muslims as well, but they're not the moderate ones. So thank you again for following this reflection. Of course, any comments are welcome, and maybe some of the comments would be subject of new reflections. Thank you.